Most people think that the difference between agents comes down to experience or network negotiation skills. It doesn't. The real divide is whether the agent sees you as a transaction or a relationship. And most of them will see you as a transaction. Here's how you can spot the difference before they cost you 5 figures. You got the keys, the commission was paid, and your agent disappeared. Not a slow fade, not a busy right now, let me get back to you, just gone. If that sounds familiar, you didn't hire a bad agent, you just hired a transactional agent, someone whose commitment ended the moment the deal was closed. That's not the exception. It's what the system is designed to produce. Commission is paid at closing, and there is no reward for staying. No financial incentive to check in a year later. The rational move for a volume-driven agent is to find the next deal the moment your paperwork is signed. A friend of mine lost about $5,000 of their deposit because their agent didn't calculate the numbers right. The age of the property and its remaining lease, plus the age of the youngest buyer, didn't meet the requirement. The CPF and bank loan got prorated, and an extra $30,000 in cash they didn't have. Transaction aborted. Deposit is just gone. And the agent, unapologetic. On another one, a personal client of mine, their previous agent was supposed to follow up on rental payments from the tenant. That agent suddenly got busy with higher priority cases. The tenant had actually stopped paying for 2 years. 2 years. They had to go to court, and these aren't just edge cases. This is what happens when the person you hired saw you as a deal and not a relationship. So let me introduce you to something I call the anti-sales filter. It's a set of 4 questions. Each one exposes a different version of transactional behavior, and they're designed to do one thing: reveal whether the person across from you is an advisor or an order taker. And here's the counterintuitive part. Most people think that a good agent is someone who says yes quickly, who calls you back fast and makes everything easy. A transactional agent is amazing at those things. During the viewing phase, they'll return your calls in like under 2 minutes. They'll open the doors for you at like 9 p.m. on a Sunday. They'll make you feel like the most important person in the world. And then they vanish. The anti-sales filter doesn't test how they behave when they want your business. It tests how they behave when they've already got it. Think of it like the difference between a wedding planner and a marriage counselor. A wedding planner disappears after the ceremony. A marriage counselor is there for what comes next. You're not hiring someone for the closing date. You're hiring someone for the years you'll live in that property. Here are the 4 questions. So grab a notebook if you're interviewing agents. Question 1. What happens after I get the keys? This is the simplest and the most revealing. A real advisor can describe their post-transaction process in detail. They'll tell you about the 30-day check-in, the mortgage review at the 1-year mark, and the property maintenance reminders. They have a list of things that they do for clients who already paid them. A transactional agent will give you something vague. I'm here if you need me. Just reach out anytime. It sounds friendly, but it means nothing. For example, I have clients who live overseas. Technically, my responsibilities end the moment that I find them a tenant and collect the commission. But for the next 2 years, I help to manage that property, I help to manage the tenant, and I take care of all the repair issues and the tenant issues and the inspections. All of it without charging extra. Why? Because the fact is they live in another country, and that made it more important to follow through, not less. Question 2. What's wrong with this property? This one feels counterintuitive. You're hiring someone to help you buy. Why would you want them to say no? Because an agent who has never told a client this property is wrong for you is not an advisor. They are an order taker, and an order taker gets paid regardless of whether you make a good decision or a terrible one. A good doctor tells you to lose weight. They don't just write you a prescription and send you home. Same thing here. Sometimes the right answer is don't buy this one. The most common thing I see in this industry, agents misrepresenting property information when marketing. Advertising a level 2 or level 3 unit as high floor, or calling a 2-bedroom plus study a 3-bedroom when clearly a study is nowhere near a bedroom. A real advisor flags the misrepresentation. They don't repeat it. They don't excuse it. They tell you the truth even when the truth makes the property look less attractive. Question 3. What's the worst case scenario? Confidence without contingency is just optimism dressed up as expertise. A good agent should walk you through what happens when things go wrong. Not in a scary way, but in a here's what we do way. What if the valuation comes in lower than expected? What if your CPF usage gets prorated because of the age calculation? What if the timeline collapses and you need temporary housing? The client I mentioned earlier with the $5,000 loss, their agent didn't do this. They ran the numbers in the best case scenario and presented it as the plan. A real advisor walks you through the worst case because they've thought through the the risk, not because they're pessimistic, because they're prepared. Question 4. This is the kill shot. One question. Tell me about a client you've worked with over the past year. What have you done for them recently? A transactional agent will stumble. They'll vaguely reference a few clients without naming anyone. They might say, everyone's doing fine, and they'll move on. They might not even remember. A real advisor can name specific people. They can describe what they did for them in the last month, not because they're keeping a list for marketing, but because they're still in a relationship. If the agent stumbles on even one of these questions, just be wary. You don't need to explain yourself, and you don't need to give them a second chance. The system incentivizes them to behave transactionally. That's not a character flaw, it's structural. But you are the buyer, and you decide who gets your business. Free up your mental energy for finding someone who actually deserves your trust. The boring part of this advice is the vetting process. Asking 4 questions seems tedious, feels like homework when you just want to find a place and move in. But here's the thing. Most people spend more time researching a 3-night hotel stay than vetting the person handling their largest financial decision. You'll read 47 different reviews of a hotel you're visiting for a weekend. The fundamentals look boring from the outside, but they separate the people who are serious from the people who are just going through the motions. Bad agents aren't the exception in this industry. They are what the system produces, but you don't have to accept that system. You can spot them before they cost you money, time, and peace of mind. So those are the 4 questions. What happens after I get the keys? What's wrong with this property? What's that worst case scenario? And tell me about a client who you've worked with in the past year. The answers will tell you everything you need to know. And if you're wondering whether there are agents who pass all 4 tests, yes, we exist. We made a list of what we didn't want to become, and we bet our careers on being the opposite. If you found this helpful, drop a comment with your worst real estate agent story. I would love to read it and hopefully react to it in the future. Subscribe if you want more honest takes on how this industry actually works. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.